This is the story about how an ordinary group of committed citizens made something happen. This is how Wofa went to Guinea.
Garuyo mirinya geye Garuyo Agaruyo miriko beye Anemu ama womalayiro Anemu ama womanyarero Anunito la onare.
My name is Alpha Kabine Kabar, called him Bisco. I'm the founder and the director of Wofa from Pioneer Valley Performing Arts School. Been here for 15 years, not to be home, so I'm trying to find a way to go home. That's when I talked about the trip to Malina. I said, oh, I haven't been home for a long time. And she was like, oh, maybe we can find a way, maybe we can go back with the Wofa students. But we'll have to talk to parents, see if they can support to make some fundraising. And that's when we saw Elan and we talked to her about it. And we wasn't even sure it's gonna happen, but we set the day for the meeting and the parents came and we sat down and we talked about it. And from there, and we started fundraising.
My name is Melina Palumbo, and I got involved with the trip. I guess the first thing that happened was that I was a student teacher at PVPA. I was very excited actually to start student teaching there because I am a long-time fan of African dance. I've been dancing for 15 years now. And I immediately went down and introduced myself and was just so impressed by Kabisco's class, his teaching skills, his relationship with the students. And we got to talking and he told me he hadn't been home in 15 years. And I immediately felt the need to get involved and to see what I could do to try and help him get home.
Hi, my name is Elan Tierney. I am Aisha Jallo's mom. And I first got involved with the trip when a very good friend of Bisco met me at the First Churches in Northampton, and we had just watched a Sojourner Truth presentation, and Wofa was part of it. And she mentioned to me that she'd been working very hard to figure out a way to get Bisco home because he hadn't been home for 15 years. And I said, yeah, we have to get him home, but I think that all of Wofa needs to go. And partly I said that jokingly, thinking that's not really a possibility. And partly I said that because in the back of my mind, I had wanted to get back to Guinea.
Hi, my name is Sasha, and I am the World Language Department Leader at PVPA, and I'm also a French teacher. And I became involved with the trip in a conversation with Bisco, who's a friend, and we were talking about it, and he was all excited about it, and I said, hey, and he knows that I tried to launch a trip to France last year, so in my wanting to really have more travel experiences for PVPA students, I was sort of like very excited to hear about this potential trip.
My name is Carl Bridge. I'm part of the visual arts staff at PVPA. I got involved with Wofa because I've been studying West African percussion as a hobby for the last 6 to 8 years maybe. I was really excited to be part of this trip, mostly just because I know the importance of exposing yourself to different cultures and to travel and how much you can learn from that. And so I feel very grateful to have been part of this team to make this trip happen. And
I was sitting at my desk and an email came in and Sasha Starr asked me to please look over the medical form and give any feedback for the trip. This must have been at the end of August. And I looked it over and I thought, oh my God, somebody has been traveling and was so thorough and so detailed. And then I did something totally unexpected, and it turned out to be so serendipitous. I wrote back and said, great form, but I think what you really need is me. And
in order to make this trip happen, Wofa families and staff wrote an extensive proposal. They also made contacts with organizations and individuals in Guinea and began regular correspondence with them to remain abreast to Guinea's changing political climate. In addition, there were numerous health and safety precautions, as well as culture and language preparations to get students ready for a trip of this magnitude. These tasks were accomplished through providing students and families with 3 pre-departure workshops. All of this happened alongside the most ambitious task of all, which was raising the $30,000 needed through group-sponsored fundraising events.
The pre-departure preparations were almost a year in the making, I would say. The fundraising started right away and we had a huge goal, so we had no time to waste. And it was constant. It was 5 days a week, 7 days a week, morning, noon, and night. Just everyone was working really hard, the entire group, the families, the students, the trip leaders. We even recruited some PBPA staff to help us with logistics in terms of the finances, and so it took a village, and literally. And
It's a West African dance company from Department of
So the first thing that we did as a group of organizers, and at this point it was just Elan, Bisco, and I, was I took on the task of writing a proposal for the trip, which was something that was exciting to me, to sit down and sort of think about all of the nuts and bolts, the schedule, the budget, where would we go, who would we talk to, what the educational outcomes would be. And that was really quite the project. It started out as a 1-page proposal and ended up as a 30-page proposal that we ended up sharing with the school board and getting approval through the school. And I think it created a lot more cohesion amongst the families to know that we had thought about these things so carefully.
the pre-departure workshops were, I think, really, really important, and we did a variety. I think we did 3 pre-departure workshops that were a few hours long, including, which culminated in a meal. Traditional Bisco cooked some Guinean meals, which was great for the students to experience that ahead of time. But also we did one in language. We did some French and some Susu. And Melina really did an amazing job crafting these pre-departure workshops, because she's got the expertise and the background in intercultural travel, and it was her sort of depth of knowledge that she brought to us prior to going was so important. I feel like we could have spent months and months and months preparing for departure and we still wouldn't be fully prepared, but I think we had a really great sort of introduction and sort of an idea, a much better idea of what we could expect once we got there.
So we did a lot of work to be able to get to Guinea in less than 9 months. A major part of it was fundraising, and another piece of it was making connections with people in Guinea. Having been a Peace Corps volunteer there 20 years ago, I contacted the Peace Corps office to see if we could make connections with volunteers. I thought it'd be great for the students to meet volunteers and maybe some high school students, kids the same age. And also because safety was a big concern, I made connections with the U.S. Embassy. And both of those connections turned out to be fabulous connections once we were in country, not only for our safety, but it just added a whole nother layer of cultural awareness.
There was so much to do, and the biggest part was to get to know what to be prepared for. And Melina had done a lot of groundwork around the medical pieces and what to do with the immunizations and what different kinds of medications that we needed for. We had to decide which kind for malaria, which was very important. But the best part that happened at one of the early family meetings was that Sadie's father, Dan Levy, said, "I'm certified in travel medicine." And it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I met with Melina and Dan, and we started talking. And Dan, from the get-go, was so clear about what we needed to get prepared for. And Guinea is not a tourist destination. It's a very poor country, and there's a lot of disease there. So we needed to be ready.
Thank you for everybody. We was talking about it earlier. Before we get to this day, today, in December 14, you know, when we started talking about this trip, it wasn't sound like it was gonna happen. Even me, who was there, I wasn't sure how it's gonna happen, but thanks to the parents' support and friends and families to make this happen. I feel like without you guys, it won't happen. And I'm really happy that it's happening. I'm really glad. I'm happy I'm going home, but I'm so happy and so excited that my students are gonna meet my family. They will see where I came from. They will see all those things that I've been telling them about. And hopefully I know they will never forget to the rest of their life. So I just want to pray for our trip to Guinea. And I wish that we live here safely and get to Guinea safely, and do all our 3 weeks together there and come back safely. And I just wanted the parents to know too that we're gonna be fine. We're gonna have a good time. I know you're gonna miss them, but we're gonna be happy having them over there. So we really gonna have a good time for us. So I'm just gonna pray. Like I say, you can say amen, and if you don't wanna say, you don't have to say anything. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
After a long journey, on December 22nd, 2013, Cabisco and Melina arrived in Guinea. On January 14th, 2014, the rest of Wofa went to meet them.
Well, it's our first night. It's really hot here.
I'm so happy to be here. It's been 12 years since we were here. It's great to be back in Guinea.
Yeah.
So I remember waking up the first morning and like walking outside and seeing like 30 people just standing there watching Melina dance.
While in Conakry, we stayed at Alseni Suma's compound. Alseni is a longtime friend and colleague of Cabisco's, and he warmly welcomed us into his home. On our first morning, a group of local drummers gathered in the courtyard to play dunumba, a traditional rhythm played for artists who are coming and going from Guinea.
should say, at the compound, and we're just all sitting around, and it's like beautiful and hot, and just we're trying to take it all in. And I was like, there's so many kids here, I love them all, what can we do to include all of them? And I'm just sitting here thinking, and I was like, wait a second, I have a rope. Now, I didn't want to bring this rope at first because, you know, my parents came up to me and they're like, this is going to be really useful for like your clothesline or something, you're just going to need a rope. And I was like, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. But anyway, I brought it, you know, just to make them happy. Little did I know, when I got to Africa, that rope would become like jump rope central. Everybody wanted the rope, everybody wanted to play with the rope. Jump rope was a thing for an afternoon, and it honestly just made a part of that experience, being in that compound with those kids who just loved the simplest thing and made it into like what seemed to be this fantastic toy, just really taught me about taking things for granted and really like enjoying the little things that you have. And I think I'll always carry that with me and remember that rope.
Baba kulbale baba hamdallah Woyi kulbale baba hamdallah Leya kulbale baba hamdallah Nene ba yo ba
What blew me away from the moment we got there was the level of poverty and people living on the sides of the street and garbage everywhere. And yet, as soon as we got into the compound where we stayed with Elseni and his family and all the people in his life, and we got to our rooms, we felt welcomed immediately. And Guinea and its people are all about family, and they're all about relationships. And we were welcomed and treated like family from the very beginning. What happened for me is it broadened my world in such a way that, you know, I listen to National Public Radio and I hear about these things going on in different corners of the world, but we live in such an insular way, we don't have to deal with these things. But being over there and seeing firsthand what people live with and how they live happy lives and get along with so little because they don't know anything else. But it changed my outlook on the world.
We began each day with drum and dance lessons in the courtyard. These lessons were with local and nationally renowned artists from the regional ballets.
Okay, together we try. 5, 6, 7. Huh? One more time, guys, together. Oh my God. 5, 6, 7, 8.
themselves to us, most of their names were Muhammad. And we thought they were like messing with us and like playing a joke on us. But in fact, all their names were Muhammad. So we played a trick on them where we would like walk behind them and we would like look at it. They knew exactly what we were doing, and they would like stare at us, and then we would say Muhammad and see which one would turn around. And they would fight to like be the first one to turn around. And they all did turn around, and most of them were Muhammads.
We also had daily language lessons in French, Susu, Pular, and Malinke. These lessons were very helpful in allowing us to communicate with our friends and family in Guinea.
And the language was definitely a challenge. I had French when I was in 2 years of French when I was in high school years ago, so most of that is pretty well gone. But to be in a culture where you're having to deal with your own native language, then the national, French, and then even when we were learning some of the languages there, like Susu, our teacher was pretty much only speaking in French, so that had to be translated through Sasha if anybody had any questions and all.
Okay, we're going to do as if it's the afternoon, which it is. So we're going to use the greetings for the afternoon.
Which is...
I can see how important being able to speak many different languages there is, just to communicate with people from different ethnic groups.
A major highlight of the trip was meeting Kabisco's mom, who we had all heard so many wonderful things about.
I want to say to you that Bisco has done so much for us. We've been working so hard to raise a lot of money to come here, and he has been working almost every day to make this happen. And I wanted to say your family, your daughters, and your sons are cooking for us and taking care of us and bringing us from the airport. You have wonderful children. And I want you to have a memory from our fundraising.
Oh my, mana tu lagi deh. Kira wali no kana na ba ni
After our first 4 days in Conakry, we went out on a road trip to Guinea, a small village 5 hours outside of the capital.
Well, we went to Chico's farm when we were in a small village outside of Guinea. It was really, overall the whole day was just incredibly inspirational. Chico was born in Guinea, but he lived in Maryland in the US for 4 years, I think, from 8 years old to 12 years old. His farm is, I think, maybe 100 acres, and he has chosen to educate a lot of the surrounding farmers about what it means to have a sustainable farm and about rotating crops, especially because Guinea has a huge environmental problem with erosion, where the farmers will find a plot of land and use it for a season and then kind of not ever go back to it and tend it again, so the topsoil erodes. And so Chico has been educated in this subject very thoroughly and has chosen to give that knowledge to other people, which I think is really incredible. And he's just a really, really warm person, and we had a great day with him.
C'est toujours elle, encore elle, la référence de la beauté guinéenne. Tout coiffure, Adixine. La Guinée. La Guinée, c'est dans ma vie, c'est dans ma vie, pas dans ma vie, la magie ma vie, dans pas dans ma vie, la Guinée,
greatest parts about being in Guinea was traveling to Kindia. I got to visit family for the second time in 12 years. And having Aisha be able to see her family was very powerful and something that we had been wanting to do for since we left 12 years ago. And it was very powerful for her to be able to meet her grandmother, her aunts and uncles, her cousins, people that we've spoken to in Pular and French over the last 12 years but haven't seen. And going there and seeing her grandmother who speaks only Pular, but making this very powerful connection between the two of them was very important for me and for her and for her family there.
On our way out of Kindia, we also got to go and see some beautiful waterfalls.
Grand merci à mon colonel Moussa Kagoro Kamara. Depuis la gendarmerie nationale, l'homme a tout fait.
One road trip we went to Kindia to visit some family there, and also we had a performance that was in Wonkifong, a fun little town for a bunch of kids that were actually our age. So a mishap, of course, happens, and we cannot fit the drums into the van that we are driving there. And so we're hoping, crossing our fingers, praying that they will have drums for us. And of course they don't. So here Wofa is left trying to figure out what's going to work. Well, luckily, everybody in Guinea has buckets to carry their water in. So we collected a bunch of buckets and made drums out of them. And we went up on the stage, and I'm sure we just looked like a circus because we obviously look like foreigners. We don't even have drums, and we've got like, I think, one little xylophone that Bisco's playing. So we've got a bucket and a xylophone. And we're trying to make do, and it actually, I think, turned out to be one of the most fun performances in Guinea because we were just immersed and surrounded by so many people that were our age but just had such different perspectives, and we're just so happy to see us, and we were so happy to see them, and just made the whole experience lighthearted and fun, and definitely memorable.
After the show, Wofa students had a chance to meet with their Ghanaian pen pals and hear about their dreams and ambitions for the future of Guinea. After 4 days of being in the countryside, they were headed back into Conakry for a quick day and then back out to Bokeh with the U.S. Embassy.
So, two of the biggest highlights, besides meeting family, were performing in Bokeh and for the ambassador's residence. And the performance at Bokeh was somewhat of a surprise. The embassy had invited us to go on a field trip with them up to Bokeh to visit a slave museum and have lunch. And they mentioned, in a small performance. And so riding up to Bokeh, which is 3 hours from Conakry, the expectation was that this would be like a small performance. And when we arrived, there was a large building filled with probably a couple thousand people and dignitaries from the entire region.
Et les États-Unis d'Amérique. Mesdames et messieurs, il est l'inspecteur.
And afterwards, the press of Guinea rushed Wofa and had lots of questions, and instantly they were superstars in Guinea. And in fact, they were broadcast all over Guinea on national TV and then also throughout West Africa. Bisco was getting phone calls from around the country and from Senegal saying, "Hey, I saw you on TV, and how come you're back in the country? Didn't tell me."
La culture guinéenne dépasse les frontières pour conquérir le cœur des Américains. Une école des arts créée aux États-Unis et gérée par un jeune Guinéen depuis 15 ans en est la parfaite illustration. Composé de danseuses et de batteurs, le groupe Wofa, un mot soussou qui signifie en français « venez », s'emploie à promouvoir le potentiel artistique guinéen au pays de l'oncle Sam.
C'est une grande fierté pour moi d'apprendre les enfants là-bas à la culture guinéenne, la danse et le djembé. Dès que je me suis rencontré avec ces enfants, je me suis tombé amoureuse avec eux et j'ai décidé de les apprendre.
C'est dans une maison des jeunes archicombles à Boké que des jeunes Américains, à travers leur chorégraphie scénique, ont émerveillé population et autorités locales du Kakandé. Pour Alexander Lascaris, la connaissance de l'histoire et la diversité de la culture guinéenne rappellent les racines du rêve américain.
Je suis très content d'avoir un fils de Guinée qui vient des États-Unis, qui a quitté le pays en 1984 et elle est devenue professeure de musique et danse dans une école secondaire pour les beaux-arts à l'État américain de Massachusetts. Et ce que nous avons vu ici à Boké, c'était incroyable. Un groupe de jeunes élèves américains de Massachusetts qui ont fait les études de la danse et de la musique guinéenne. Ils ont fait une présentation de la culture guinéenne.
After an uplifting performance, Wofa visited a slave fort in Bokeh where they learned more about America's involvement in Guinea's history of slavery. It was their last week in Guinea, but there was still so much to see. On January 24th, Wofa piled into several boats and headed out to Kassa Island to see life in yet another part of Guinea.
So when we landed on Kassa, we had to walk with all of our stuff for like probably, I don't know, a little under a mile to the place we were staying. And it was a beautiful walk the whole way there, just like it was like walking through a jungle, you know, but with drums.
Était troué, tes collants étaient filés, notre histoire était sincère, notre couple était stylé. Encore une nuit blanche à repenser à notre histoire. Ce soir mon cœur bat, ce n'est pas un bruit de couloir. Bruit de couloir.
Quand il n'y a plus d'espoir, moi je ne cesse de croire que ce sera meilleur.
Perdu dans le brouillard, on ne peut plus se voir. Mon amour n'est pas peur.
Je t'aimais jamais, mon cœur a parlé, mais je n'ai pu le faire.
Immediately we're like, oh my god, we have to go to the beach. And so we go to the beach, which is just like we could see the whole time. And it's just beautiful sand, like red sand with these, and we had this really nice inlet that would protected us from like the harsh waves. So there's just like these like really big rocks, and we can like at sunset. I remember the sun setting over the rocks. That's like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, probably.
After coming back from Kassa, Wofa headed over to Bisco's sister's house for a big family reunion.
But there were definitely some powerful moments, and among the most powerful for me was probably the family reunion, Bisco's family reunion. It was the first time that Bisco's entire family had been together in 15 years. And everyone in Wofa and the trip leaders got to speak in a round about what Bisco means to us.
We visited Bisco's sister's house for a big family dinner, and his whole family was there. Everybody who is living, all of his brothers, all of his sisters, and his mom, and all of Wofa. And it was really, really, really powerful to have those two families in the same space. And we all, first the question was posed to the Wofa members, what does Bisco mean to you? And so we all shared our really incredible thoughts about Bisco. You know, he's an incredible teacher, he's a mentor, he definitely represents his country well.
This is the most thing that I ever wanted since we got here. You know, I want so much things, but this is the best thing that I ever want. This, I don't think I want anything else than this, my two family together. I've been dreaming, praying for it happen, and finally, this is the day.
But when I first met Visco, it was a mistake. Like, I wasn't even supposed to be in his class.
C'était une erreur.
It was a mistake. And I remember I said, Visco, nice to meet you. I'm Iris, but I'm not supposed to be in your class.
J'ai dit, Visco, enchanté, mais je ne dois pas être dans ta classe.
Yeah. And he goes, why not? And I said, because I don't have.
Je sais pas danser et je n'ai pas de rude, mais je peux pas être dans ta classe. Et elle dit, non, c'est pas vrai.
Yeah, and he was like, you stay, you're gonna stay, and you're gonna dance. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Yep, and I remember it was like such a fortunate mistake because I've never felt so, I'd never had anything besides, you know, like singing. You know, singing gives you like a different type of being free and being able to express yourself, but I'd never had something like African dance where I could feel like I was flying.
Okay.
And I just, as time went on and as I kept going to the classes, I kept getting little glimpses into Visco's life, and he would tell us about his life here and how much different it was in good ways and in bad ways. But kind of like what Andia said, he would always teach us those values that weren't always taught in America about being loyal and loving your life and being happy.
I'd love to thank Visco for everything he's done. I started in his class in 7th grade, the first semester, and I wasn't really sure what I was getting into with African drum and dance. I found throughout the years, like, me and Visco, like, I've gotten to know him, like, a lot better, and I just can't wait until the years to come.
And so then the question was posed to his family, what do you think of Wofa and Visco's life in the US? And to me, that was even more incredible to hear what his whole family's thought process about. You know, some of them weren't even really quite sure what he was doing here.
And listening to especially the students talk about how Visco's presence has impacted their lives in a positive way. His brothers, who up until that moment didn't really value what he was doing here in the States and thinking that he was sort of piddling away his time, really heard everyone's words, and they stood up and they both said that they respect Visco and they see that he's doing something valuable with his life, and they were very proud of him. And that was, I don't think there was a dry eye in the house.
Elle est dynamique. Oui. Ok, bon, moi j'ai quelques phrases à dire.
I have a couple sentences to say.
D'abord, je les souhaite bienvenue en Guinée.
I wish you welcome to Guinea.
Gabine est mon deuxième jeune frère.
Visco is my second younger brother,
Mon second, son grand frère qui est entre nous, il est décédé.
and the brother that is between us has passed.
Ok, donc il a grandi devant moi.
He grew up in front of me, before me.
Donc aujourd'hui, c'est une fierté pour nous de le voir avec des étrangers chez nous.
And it's a source of pride for us to see him with strangers here.
Donc cette famille, nous sommes rassurés qu'il a déjà une famille vraiment de l'autre côté.
And we're reassured today that he really does have another family in the States.
Very, very special thing. It was seeing my both family together, Wofa and my family in Guinea together, sharing food, sharing life, and talk about our relationship, how we are. That was one of the best moments that I ever wanted. And I was so happy to see that. I was so excited to see everybody together, you know, hugging each other, talking, sharing, laughing, crying. It was very special. That's the one thing that I would never ever forget. And I'm pretty sure Wofa student and my family home, they will never forget. And I hope their friendship growing from there to the eternity, even without me.
Suddenly, we had reached the end of our momentous journey, and the last stop was the ambassador's residence for one more performance and goodbye.
Performing at the end of the trip for the ambassador, and he had invited ambassadors from all over West Africa, even as far away as South Africa, Japan, Germany, England. We got to mix and mingle with all of these very special people and talk to them about Wofa and about our experience in Guinea. And then the kids did a performance. Afterwards, the cultural minister, I think is who he was, in the Guinean government got up and said how impressed he was with the group, how honored he was that they were doing traditional dances that not even local Guinean kids in Conakry know how to dance, and even asked if Bisco would come back and teach.
Wow. Donc là, on a entendu, vous avez vu ceux qui connaissent le violet, le makourou. Les enfants de nos quartiers aujourd'hui ne connaissent pas ces danses.
It's a great way to tie up the trip because a lot of the people that we had met throughout the trip were there. Family members, Peace Corps volunteers, U.S. Embassy staff, and of course our compound friends and family, Alsani and Dominique. It was a great way to tie up the trip, and just even to finish it off completely is when we were leaving in the airport, some airport staff ran up and said, "Hey, are you the Wofa group on TV?" So we left the country as superstars.
As a group, Wofa went to Guinea hoping to learn more about the country's vibrant culture and to study with many of Guinea's incredible artists. Along the way, the lessons learned were far deeper than any of us could ever have imagined, and will certainly become the building blocks for a long life of cross-cultural relationships.
One of the most important things that I learned was just appreciation for what you have and all that is available to you. I learned that we take advantage of what we have. And there are people there, like our drum teacher who had 2 outfits, and he was still like the happiest guy we ever met.
I learned that in the States you definitely need to appreciate what you have because people in other countries definitely don't have it as easy as we do here.
Find joy and happiness, and no matter what their circumstances are.
I learned that love is the universal language that everyone speaks.
How much love they give out to everybody, even if they don't know you.
I just wish that one day maybe we can take from that, like as a country, but also just like as human beings, like take away those ideals that all those material things really don't matter.
They may be poor, but they're so much richer than a lot of us that have a lot. So that's something that I'm going to take with me forever.
I will definitely bring that with me for the rest of my life.
What's up, what's up?
Garuyo mirinya geye Garuyo Agaruyo miriko beye Anemu ama womala